I think we may be live for Credit Rockstars Live.
Awesome.
I certainly hope to. Happy to
Round 2, episode 2.
Round 2.
There we go. Let's see what we got. Couple
Ding,
views.
ding, ding.
This is follow-up from 2 weeks ago where we were talking about the credit report, and we're going to talk about today about reviewing that credit report that hopefully people have gotten access to.
But there might be people who are seeing us for the first time, so introduce ourselves. I'm Jeremy Dysock, FICO certified credit coach with Credit Life, financial wellness company, and just a bucket of awesome. And you are?
Jared Havens, co-founder and CEO of Credit Life.
And Brian Del Terzo back here on the board, administrator and co-founder of Credit Life.
And that's how we do. So this is Credit Rockstars Live. This is our live twice-a-week podcast that is now going to be twice a week on Mondays and Wednesdays.
We continue to run into some, I wouldn't say issues.
There's like
we're
health issues.
We're refining the process. We're refining the show.
Refining it. So we did our first episode. Our first episode was on really the importance, or the takeaway was go get a credit report.
And on top of that, it was really understanding why and why we recommend this best practice.
Hey, can I interrupt for just a second here?
Yeah.
I am looking at a preview down at the bottom.
Are you?
I'm not seeing it on a big screen. So does that mean it's not
Let's find out.
showing on the big screen?
Come on. It's all right. It's all right. Hey, cool. No, that's fine. That's exactly what's going on right now. That's what we'll look like
There
on the
we
big
go.
screen. Yep.
There we go. There we go.
We're in good
Are we
shape.
good now? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
we're good.
so-
We're good.
So, but what I was saying was
Yeah.
that, we recommend through best practice as smartcredit.com/credit life, no T in Credit Life. And the reason being is it's about the ease of use and just understanding, being able to read the credit report.
Oh, yeah, it's
really a lot of times,
easy to read one.
Well, yeah, and a lot of times people have Credit Karma, which the issue there is it's 2 bureaus, it's more of a detailed summary. It's not even, I wouldn't even say detailed, it's a wrong word for it.
It's part of 2 bureaus.
Yes, and then you have other, direct to bureau ones that a lot of times if you're doing it as a single bureau poll, or if you do annualcreditreport.com or whatever it is, all very confusing, honestly. It really is.
There's so many options out there. My favorite is always the My FICO, which I always call it the My FACO, because it is. It's a FACO score. It's like, hey, let's show you 20 different versions of FICO. But what they don't say, which they should say in big, bold letters right on the front page, is these are not your lending scores. None of these are your lending scores, because there's up to 24 different scorecards within every version of FICO. So it's like, hi, we showed you 19 versions of FICO. Well, you could print it, you could look at it, and that in an origami class will let you make a swan, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's about all it's good for. It's not your lending version. So when you're saying, hey, everybody, we want you to use this smart credit because it's easier to read and stuff, that's not the scores on there. They're not your lending FICO scores either.
Exactly.
But that's not the floor we're getting off on the elevator. That's not what we're worried about. What we're worried about is the profile, the nuts and bolts, the information and the data that's on it. Because, being FICO certified, I know if the data's in correct shape, the score is a derivative.
Well, I
of the data.
think it's important to understand that, we speak to this all the time. It's about understanding what's on the report. What's on the report, the score will reflect that.
Yep.
You have to understand the data within it.
Right.
And once you start understanding that, which is the credit profile, the credit report, that's how you can start really working on improving your credit profile strength, which then impacts your credit scores. But definitely with lending purposes, I had a conversation with a gentleman. I won't name names yet until we have an announcement around it, but it's a very prominent person that owns a bank. And it was absolutely amazing. We were discussing one of their products and how he immediately went into detail about understanding that there's certain products that they offer that aren't necessarily there to improve credit scores. It's about understanding that these type of things improve your credit profile for lending purposes and different types of lending. Perfect. And that's what's it's so important to know that. But on top of that,
that's our topic.
That's our topic. That's our top. That's
I just realized I'm like, whoa, we're going off script.
It is, but
it's important stuff.
I just think it's important to understand. But that's why you want to look at the credit report. And that's why you want to have access to a report that has all 3 and the details of all 3 on one report.
Right. Let me throw this in. So we're saying we love us some smart credit. That's the name of the credit monitoring service. So the reason we're telling you to go to www.smartcredit.com/credit life is not only do we like smart credit, but if you do the /credit life, you get $8 off the price.
Which is amazing.
You're welcome to do if you don't believe us, go to smartcredit.com and pay the full bore. That's That, or if you'd like to just waste that $8, you can send it to Jeremy, care of Credit Life,
Exactly.
in an envelope.
Every single month.
To be specific about that,
Envelope.
My 800 Credit worked with Smart Credit to create a specific platform that works well with our program
That's
for
so
people
cool.
that are trying to do their own self-driven credit repair. Because what this one does for $21.99 allows you access to a 3-bureau report every 30 days.
Every
or at
month,
least
yeah.
every billing cycle, so that you can get a fresh report, take a look at changes, see if anything new's popped on, see if anything's updated, repaired, or deleted. The normal one, if you just go to smartcredit.com, it is $19.99 a month, but it does include the 3-bureau report.
Right.
Yep.
So you're
So, I mean,
missing
you got to
all
buy
the-
the report on top
You
of
got to
it.
buy that for another $20.
So, I mean, it's a good deal. And on top of it, you know, that 3-bureau, that's not an inquiry. It's not a hard inquiry. It's not going to cost you points off your score
Yep.
to do this. And let's be honest, it shouldn't cost you points off your score to look at your own stuff, right? Do we want to do our top 5?
Yeah, just be prepared, everyone. This is actually quite hilarious.
Okay,
and
so
I'm glad that we're doing it.
We do a top 5 every week, right? So this top 5 is thanks to a person from a bank that I've got intimate access to. With that did not come across right. Well, anyway. So this is the top 5 actual excuses for bad credit that were made to mortgage underwriters. So these are things, when a mortgage underwriter is underwriting a file to get a home, a lot of times they'll ask for something called a letter of explanation. Say, hey, tell me
Exactly.
about this. Tell me why this bad thing happened, and maybe we'll be able to look past it and get you a house. So these are the top 5 actual excuses that worked made to a mortgage underwriter for having bad credit. So this is the first one. The borrower, a woman who had had a sex change operation, said her bad debts didn't count because they were incurred back when she was a man. So
That is a unique one.
I
That's
mean-
a unique one.
some people will pay the money for credit repair. Other people will. I'm not willing to take that kind of step, to be
Yeah.
honest.
It's a little excessive.
It's extreme. We'll go with extreme. Here we go. I stopped making credit card payments and filed bankruptcy because I didn't want any debt when I buy a house. I should get approved, right? It actually said that in the letter. I should get approved, right?
Yeah, I'm just blown away by that one.
But now these actually somehow worked.
These worked.
Well,
And these
It was-
mortgages, the reason we're hearing about them, the mortgages went through, ended up in foreclosure, shockingly. And the mortgage underwriters who reviewed that looked back and found these crazy things inside of them.
Wow.
Oh, and there's way more. I legitimately just took the first 5 off the list. Here we go. My car broke. I stopped making payments because I wanted them to come and get their junk car.
Yep, that one is common. I've heard that so much.
Yeah, we've heard that in the free credit repair advice group too, which is a scary thing in itself. Here we go. The construction workers moved my mailbox and could not find it for 3 months. That's a great reason not to pay your bills, right?
Well, I don't know where my mailbox is. I don't know. They're not coming in. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely,
don't
yeah.
have to pay them.
Man, my mailbox is gone. I don't have to pay
For
for
sure,
my
the
American
dog
Express.
ate my bill has got to be on the list somewhere
Yeah.
down the line. Not on ours today.
Yeah, it's
but
not on ours today.
That's gotta
Here
be.
is number 5 on ours today, though. I like this one, so put on your tinfoil hats. The government has been tracking me, and I didn't want to give them my DNA when I licked an envelope so they could find out where I was. These are real things that were being used as excuses
And not
Amazing.
clearly reviewed by the underwriter apparently.
for bad credit.
to,
It's amazing.
or they're not grading people on their sanity as a
Yeah.
part of the underwriting process.
So, just as a public service announcement, let's reach out to you guys and just let you know, none of those are actually really going to work for you. They're not. They're
Exactly.
not.
Yeah, I
These are
wouldn't count on
not.
it.
These are not strategic credit restoration tips. These
Yeah.
are pretty much kind of the 5 stupidest things you could do.
Yes, exactly.
Well, we'll have more to come. So
Yeah.
so quickly to transition, then we'll just kind of go
Yeah.
into our sponsor, My 800 Credit.
Cool.
Sponsor with My 800 Credit is running $100 off in coordination with us off our onboarding enrollment fee. So it's a great opportunity to get into the full professional services of Credit Life in our VIP credit program. So go on over to my800credit.com and check it out. There should be a little pop-up in the bottom left to
Cool.
go ahead and grab that offer. So I
So
hope
it's
that
$100 off.
$100 off the
Right
enrollment.
before the holidays, you get
How
an
do they
extra
how do
$100.
they submit the offer?
When they
Is
go
it a
ahead,
coupon
when they
or
go ahead and do
code?
that, it's going to notify us through the back end of My 800 Credit setup, so that we're
that's
notified
amazing.
that they did that, and
Simple.
we'll reach out
He
to
said
them
back
into the
end.
program.
Well, that's great. My800credit.com. Check that out.
My800credit.com.
Get $100 off your enrollment. Let's get it going.
That's really good stuff. So the topic discussion, last week's last time the takeaway was go forth and get yourself a credit report. So today's discussion is, what are we looking for? What do we look for on the credit report? And you've got some ideas for people when they're looking through it and reading it on highlighting colors and stuff. I mean, we're getting old school. We're grabbing the highlighters back out. We're printing this stuff on paper. This is honestly, this is what we do.
Exactly, and it's important. It's important because, there's power to reviewing something and highlighting it.
Absolutely.
It's very different than just seeing it on a screen. But when you actually take time to print that, go through it, analyze it, highlight it, that is going to help open up your eyes to what your situation really is.
Well, it's like anything. I mean, anytime something's really reviewed, and it's one thing that'll just look at it and go forth, but to go back to review it, I mean, that's important. Like, I saw the review for Ishtar, the movie. It was
what?
It was a terrible review. A terrible review, terrible movie. I'm glad
Ishtar.
Ishtar. Oh, if you haven't seen Ishtar, don't. So, but you want to go through and you want to, I realize I was a little sideways. You want to review. So you want to review what? You want to look at the credit report and what are we looking for on this thing? So pretend I've never seen a credit report before and tell me, okay, Jeremy, here you've printed your credit report. You've got a couple of markers and you're going to go check some stuff out. Tell me how to do something like this.
Yeah, I would say, the first thing that you're going to go through, and once again, I'm going off Smart Credit here, going through the 3 bureau credit reports. On the first section is the personal identifying information section. I immediately want to address this with everyone that's listening. I want to debunk the whole thing about, remove this address and remove these addresses and all these different things. No. What you want to look for, though, there is just to double check that the information is correct. Now, if you have an address on there that you used to live at when you were younger, or if you had an address that you lived with your uncle at one point, or whatever it is, you have to understand this is just data that came in. It's your history.
It's an accurate history of reality.
If it's history, it's history. Leave it alone. Now, if you see something that's completely unknown or not yours, well, then yes, highlight that. You're going to want to highlight that in red.
And what would that be potentially?
That could be an address that you've never been at.
Right.
It could be in a state that you've never been in.
Those could be fraud things. Those could be identity theft things. Someone might have
attempts at
fraud. Someone might have tried to open up.
That would be important to review. You know what I mean? Phone numbers, things like that. A lot of times people get weird about their job history. It's like, it is what it is. I mean, if it's accurate, if it's there, just leave it alone. It doesn't even need to be updated as to where you're at today. It doesn't matter. It's just based on information at one point when it was reported. So that's what you want to look for.
How does that impact your score?
It doesn't impact it at all.
Not one bit.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's important to know. Now, this is what we'll get into since we're talking about it already. For anyone that's going through your report, I want you to have 3 different highlighters. You're going to have red, yellow, and green.
Like a traffic light.
Exactly.
Right.
So red is going to be oh, thank you for pointing at the camera. Thank you.
That's a great idea.
I forgot there's a camera here.
Yeah, we need to start doing that, looking at cameras.
You'll have red. Red is for this is bad. This is just
what
flat
is bad?
out. I know this is bad. It could be, hey, an address I've never stayed at. That's red.
Right.
Maybe fraud. Who knows?
Right.
As you're going through the report, as we're going to go through, there might be areas that are going to be considered bad, negative, that you'll be highlighting in red. Green is good. It's good to identify what's positively impacting your credit profile.
Right.
It's not always just about the bad. And then yellow is going to be for unknown. It's going to be for, I don't really know how this is impacting me. Does this matter? I don't know. So therefore, just highlight that yellow so that way you can be more informed moving forward, how to get clarity on that and how to act on that.
So those are questionable type things, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So that'll be perfect.
Excellent. So we've got our 3 markers. We've now looked at the top and we verified, okay, I know I never lived in Montana, so maybe I make that red. Probably not a lot yellow. I mean, that'd be really red and green. I mean, either I lived there or I didn't. That's actually my name or it's not. Okay, so after we've looked at that, and we now know that doesn't impact our score in any way, shape, or form, what's the next thing I should look at if I'm looking to, if I'm looking to review my credit report?
Yep, I would go right past summary.
Right past it?
I would go right past the summary. Now, that's going to be the next part in the profile, the report. The reason why I professionally recommend going past summary is a lot of times information, how it's coded in the report, the summary itself is not always accurate. So it doesn't matter. You want to immediately start going to the account history section. That's where you want to go to next.
So does the summary impact my score?
It does not.
It does not. So the names and addresses do not impact my score. The summary does not impact my score.
Exactly.
All right. So we've gone past those 2 things, and now where am I looking?
Now we are in the meat.
My bad history.
Now we are in
My
the
terrible
history. Account
when
history.
I never, ever, ever paid anyone ever.
Well, that's not always the case.
Okay.
But it's but literally, I mean, this is the part that you want to spend the most time on is account history. Okay. So I'll just give you, and then obviously expand on this, Jeremy. I'm going to give the listeners here what to look for. So you have certain key verbiage.
Okay.
You have installment account or installment, loan, installment, anything related to installment. Look for that. Revolving, retail line of credit, certain things. What you want to look for is, I would identify the good first. Start with the good. What do I have open and active or even closed that doesn't necessarily have anything derogatory tied to it, like a late payment, collection, or charged off status? This is something that, hey, this is working for me either right now, this is open and active now, or it's working for me in my past. It was something I did well on in my payment history.
Showing a depth of credit. Like
Exactly.
I've done okay before. I've done okay right now.
Exactly.
Right.
And once again, as you're going through this report, I mean, take your time with it. You want to look for certain types of accounts. You have installment, you have revolving. Obviously, you have the name. It's a Home Depot card or whatever it is, an auto loan. And you want to start highlighting the green. Look at the positive here. What do I got working for me? Okay, that's very important. Because as we talk about in future shows, as well as the group and all of our following, there's a certain mix that you want to start building for when it comes to your credit profile. But we're going to go past that.
Pretend I don't know what an installment account or a revolving account is.
Yeah.
So, we want to, I suppose we just want to explain installment accounts.
Good,
Installment accounts, those are going to be what? Your car loans, your student loans, anything where you make equal monthly payments every single month until the debt is paid off, right? That's an installment loan. You're making installment payments of X number of dollars for X amount of time until the loan is paid off. Now, revolving means you've got an amount you're allowed to spend, your credit limit. There's the balance, that's the amount you spent. And basically, it goes forth. You make payments every month. You can charge it up. You can pay it down. You can pay it off. You can use it again. And as long as you're happy with the bank and they're happy with you, that can keep revolving like that forever and ever. That's going to be your finger hut cards. Your credit card could be your overdraft line of protection at your bank.
Yep. Line of credit.
So if you're looking at rebuild, installment accounts are things like your self lender and your car loan. Revolving accounts, your finger hut, your Capital One, things like that.
Yep, that's perfect. That's absolutely spot on. I think it's important, for everyone to understand that, just because a lot of times they might hear those terms and go, I have no idea what that is.
Right.
And now I'm confused.
Right. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
it's good. I mean, it's important to know what these types of accounts are. So here's what we want to go through. Now have your red and have your yellow out.
Red and yellow.
And here's what you're going to be looking for. In each account, as you're going through and down the history, you're going to see the three bureaus in almost like rectangular blocks, okay? Below that, you also see payment history, 24-month payment history. They even have a legend there between each three bureau to show 30, 60, 90-day, which is for late payment history. So what you want to look for is now we're going to start targeting what's derogatory or negative.
Okay.
So key things there would be late payment history,
right?
30-day late, 60-day late, 90-day late. Right. CO for charged off coding. That's an account like, let's say, Finger Hut, that for a reason I didn't,
I never ever paid it ever.
I never paid it. It got charged off as a bad debt, and now it's charged off. The coding itself is charged off.
Wait, so if I see it as charged off, that means they took a tax write-off and I don't owe it anymore, right?
And that is not the case. No.
That's not correct?
That's Jeremy's face. I love it. No, that is not the case. No, I mean, what they're doing there is, yes,
like you're saying I got to pay my bills. That's what my takeaway from this is.
Yes, there's a process where they write that off as a profit and loss, but they are still able to pursue the debt. So you got to make sure that, as we go further along, there's certain times you want to make sure you understand what your debt obligations
CO
are.
charge off, that's a thing. That's red.
That is going to be red. Collection, red. Okay, start looking at and this is all within account history. This is the main portion of your credit report. This is the largest portion in most cases, unless you have nothing on there, is the actual history of lent money within your credit report. This is where you need to spend the most amount of time. You really do.
If I'm looking and it says charged off, but then it says closed,
that doesn't matter.
Still bad.
Still bad.
So if it's how about if it's a repossession on a car? It'd say like repo or RF in the coding. So that's how I got to tell them what that would mean. If I got a repossession, but what if I paid and got it back out a repo? is that still bad?
Well, it depends on how it's coded. In most cases, it'd still be bad.
Okay.
Yep. Because what you'd have to do there, I mean, I don't want to get into too much detail on
No, of
this,
course.
but if you were to go in and create some sort of repayment plan and a settlement or whatever it is,
Right.
if it's already been charged off, it is very rare for them to reopen as a positive.
Okay.
There are in some cases, not auto, where there might be a credit card that may issue you a new credit card because you've satisfied a previous debt.
Right.
But when it comes to the coding, once it's derogatory, it's derogatory.
And if I'm looking in those codes and in the wording and stuff in there, and it says like account included in bankruptcy, what about that?
that is still potentially negative.
Potentially. What's it probably?
It's more than likely negative.
Probably
a lot
negative,
of times
okay.
what you want to do when it comes to post-bankruptcy repair is you want to identify the accounts in red that had late payment history or were charged off or in collection at the time of filing bankruptcy.
Okay.
There are times where you don't want to challenge on certain accounts, including bankruptcy, if they weren't technically derogatory up until that point.
That's good stuff to know
Yep.
when we're looking through. So when you're reading through this, we've got CO, it means charge off. RF was actually going to be the repossession.
Repossession.
You'll also see that in foreclosure things.
Yep.
30, 60, 90, 120, 150, those are days late.
Yep.
Okay. What other types of things are there other things I might see on that report?
You know,
when
a
I'm
lot of
looking through
times
this?
people get confused around medical collections. So I wanted to talk about that. You know, a lot of times in credit reports, it's not going to show because if you have a collection, in most cases, it'll show a collection company name. So you have an idea of who is, at one point reported that and was pursuing that debt obligation or that debt. Medical, a lot of times it'll show up as just medical or unknown even.
There won't be a name.
Yeah, there won't be anything. And so that can be confusing to someone that hasn't reviewed a credit report before. And so that is something that if you know that is due to like a medical collection, highlight it red. But if you don't necessarily know what that is or what it's from or if it's bad or not,
Could be
this is
anything.
where you could use yellow.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Where you want to do a little bit more research as to what is this account. Another thing that could be yellow, and I'd say, is that if there is anything that you feel might be due to fraud, I would highlight that yellow because it's unknown. I don't know. This is questionable. Is this something that was fraudulent? Then that path is going to be different than standard credit repair.
What if it's just wrong? You're like, man, I know I
That's
was
another
never
thing.
30 days. I was never 30 days late on this account. It's showing 30. I was not 30 days late. They
Yep.
took the payment. They said it wouldn't be 30 days. It was 24 days. I know for a fact it wasn't 30. That's something you do yellow because
Yep.
you would
and write notes around it.
you would fight that differently probably or potentially
Yes.
than you would something that's just flat up bad.
Exactly.
Okay.
I would,
That makes
yes.
sense.
And I think that what you'll find as you're going through this, is you want to, as a human being, a consumer, whatever word you want to use, it's very important to get an understanding of your history. Because once again, remember, your credit report is a history of lent money. And that's what dictates your score when you're applying for something. I like using different colors because this is where you might have that aha moment or your eyes open up and
Yep.
realize, I understand now. I have far more red and maybe some yellows than I
Right.
do green.
Right.
This is why my score is where it's at. This is what I need to work on. This is what's so powerful is understanding what to work on when it comes to potential repair, those reds and maybe some yellows. But then if you have very limited green, this is what I need to build on. We need more green in here.
Right. Right. So, I mean, and the thing is, you may see a situation where there might just be a little bit of just a couple of red things. You might have a lot of green, but your score might be low. I mean, is that something that someone would possibly come across or run
That
into?
could easily happen, and that's where it comes across risk. If you think about it, the FICO algorithm is based on risk. Well, all the credit score algorithms, for the most part, is
It's a risk
based on
rating.
risk. It's a risk
Yeah.
assessment.
How risky is it to give Jared money?
Exactly.
The answer is extremely.
extremely
Extremely
risky. No, I'm just kidding.
dangerous, risky, and ill-advised.
But that's where time comes into play too.
Right.
If you have something that happened recently, like let's say you had a late payment on a credit card a month ago and it's now showing up,
Right.
there is going to be a severe negative impact for that because this is a recent risk rating. This just happened. Something's going on.
Yep.
And so therefore,
So odds are it could be still happening.
Exactly. And
Okay.
that's why the negative impact will be so much. Whereas if you have something that's older, let's say you have some late payments 4 years ago, but you have open active accounts now in good standing being managed correctly, your scores might still very well be in a very good position, even with some late payments in the past. It just really depends.
All right.
Well, would you say when you're looking at a credit report, like if I'm just looking at mine for the first time and trying to figure this out with all the colors, red, bad, yellow, not sure, green, good, could I look at it and say, would I lend myself money? Do you think that would become apparent or obvious at any point in time, or is it kind of too hard
for
to
sure.
say for?
No, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, in most cases, maybe not every case, but once
If you're
again,
honest with yourself.
yeah, I mean, it's like you start realizing, okay, this is making sense because a lot of people don't understand how this all works. You know, they might think, hey, I'm going to go off and pay off all my collections, and now I can be approved for things again. And they realize that, you know, that's also a negative. It's about the strategy behind it. I don't want to get into that too much, but it's just, yeah, I mean, you can easily start looking at it going, okay, I can see where my issues are. I can see why I'm not getting money lent
Why I'm
to
getting
me.
declined. When
Why
I
I'm
apply
getting
for things.
declined,
So,
for sure.
you know, a lot of people come, I guess it's kind of an interesting segue. A lot of people come to us looking for their biggest goal being owning a home, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I think you had something for our sponsor for
Well,
this.
yeah. Well, with respect to that, we're trying to work within our referring partner network to create incentives for people to come into a program or get vested in their financial future, figure out their credit, and really achieve their goals. And in doing so, we've made some really cool headway with some of our referring partners, people that are excellent in the industry, where
Sweet.
we've been able to get up to $800 so far right now, cash back in incentives, things like that for people who go through that referral network to close on their home.
That's
so
the-
working with loan officers that we've worked with for many, many years, working with real estate agents that are best of class in their industry and really understand what
Top
we do.
teams.
Top teams, yeah. So because it's important that they understand what we do and have a mutual respect for what this does for people and getting them get it.
So what you're talking about, that right way.
The Right Way Real Estate
Right
Program.
way real
Yeah,
estate. Okay.
It's I mean, what other better way is to come if you decide to hire a professional, but have an opportunity when you achieve your goal by working with us to get almost all your money back that you put into the program to get you where you need to be.
So
Huge.
someone
So,
comes
it's
through
awesome.
Credit Life. They get their credit better and their goal is to buy a home. They want to have a home. They want to have a backyard for the kids, like I always talk about, right? And so essentially, their goal, when they get that, when they close on that home, their goal can like literally dang near pay for what it took to get them to the goal.
And in some people,
How would you not do this?
right?
Exactly.
Why would you not hire a pro?
And sometimes
Well,
it's just worth it to
specific to Credit Life. Why would you not hire Credit Life?
Right. Well, that makes
go
sense.
through
I
this
mean,
program.
That's the point.
Yeah. So that's the right way to real estate program.
Right
So
Way to
yeah,
Real
I
Estate
guess if your
program.
goal is to get a house, you know how can they get a hold of it? Credit Life. How can they get a consultation?
Well, yeah, you just go right on over to yourcreditlife.com, and if you go to our website, you can fill out a contact me form. I've got one of these buttons somewhere right here, right here. Fill out our contact us form.
Cool.
We probably will be adjusting that ebook access because we've created a new tools tab over there that have some of those cool utilities that'll help people.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
You go to that website, fill out a contact form, and one of the coaches will reach out to you to discuss the program, and it's easy.
You
it's
jump
easy
right
to get
into that
started.
thing, and there's no prerequisite, like they don't have to take a class or invest some $100
No,
to
and
join in.
we're actually getting a lot of people who are reaching out within the industry that want to be a part of that Right Way program, and
So we can be selective and just pick the best for you.
Absolutely, we're talking to people that they've worked with, we're looking at testimonials. We're talking to their broker, get a feel for who's going to work with this program and who really understands what we're
All
doing.
right. So that's the right way to real estate through Credit Life. $800 back, up to $800 back when you close on your home after you've used the Credit Life program, and that's insane.
And
I
we're
think it's
working on
amazing.
additional incentives with the loan officers as well. So if
Perfect.
they're working with one of the ones that we work with, it's
Well, that's great.
Well, and
lot
I
of good
think
wins.
it's important. A lot of times when people hear that, they're like, "Up to $800 back incentives. That's amazing," which it is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty lit.
It's because of the partners that we brought on.
Mm-hmm.
They're contributing. When it comes to you closing at the closing table, they're contributing to that.
Well, that's flat
That
out
is
because
huge.
they want you guys
They
after
want
you've
you to
gone
be
through
successful.
after you've gone through the Credit Life program, you're really appealing to them. I mean, let's be honest. After someone's completed the Credit Life VIP program, you're appealing enough to these people that they're willing to throw $800 to get you.
Exactly. To service and help you get to your goal, but it's because you are ready to rock.
Right.
You
Right.
listen to the Credit ROCKSTARS podcast.
Heck yeah.
You read your credit report, and you know what needs to be done.
That's awesome. So back to the reading of the credit report. So we had talked about old things that are closed. A lot of times, a question I've been asked a bunch that I respond to, of course. So I don't just sit there and go, "Yeah, good question." But I get asked a bunch is, if I've got these these past accounts, old accounts, and they're closed on my credit report, a lot of times people ask, what should I do to delete them? And what's the real answer? The answer is you shouldn't, right? If you've got positive accounts that are, old and closed on your report.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think it's important to understand that as you're going through your credit report, the account history section, once again, you want positive history. If it's closed, but it had positive history tied to it,
it's still positive.
It's still positive.
So it's
you
green.
Want to keep that on there. It's
You're
green.
You're scribbling green all over that one.
Exactly, but you're right. That does come up a lot. People
It's
don't
amazing.
know.
Yeah,
They
how
don't
do I
know.
get rid of this old? And the thing is, they think, well, I've got to clean up my report.
Yeah.
Not the good things. Don't take the good things off.
Well, and those could consist of something with a late payment too. That's in the
Yeah.
past. Late payments happen for a million different reasons.
Right.
Yep.
The interesting thing about a credit report is it doesn't know how much we make. I mean,
Right.
it can infer from different trade lines and things like that what you might be making for a living. But a recent late payment is just something that's saying, hey, there could be something going on right now.
Yeah, they're in
Or an
trouble.
over leveraged revolving account looks like, hey, they're depending on their credit too much. There's a lot of red flags that can be raised, but your history, while it may have some little issues in the past, it's more about what's going on right now. And there's a combination of things we're looking at: who you are and how you honored your financial obligations along the way, and what your credit score is today. So we
Right.
have to take all that into consideration when they're readying you for a mortgage.
That's crazy. That is awesome stuff.
Well, I think next too is another thing is the collections. I think that's something that we have to expand on.
Yeah.
In charged off accounts,
Let's
because
do
this in most cases when we're working and helping people, it's because they have collections or
collections charged
accounts.
off. Yep.
So as a reminder, the methodology around collections in most cases is to investigate first, but if they're within, if it's valid debt, settle after deletion is the
Right.
ideal.
So while paying, I always kind of say the same thing. While paying on an account, a collection that's reporting negatively on your credit, while it's a step in the process, it's not necessarily the first step.
Exactly.
First step,
And-
verify, validate, investigate.
Yep, and this is where it's important too when you're going through your credit report. I want everyone to take their time and review what I'm about to say. Specific to a collection, when you look at a collection account within the collections tab, you're going to notice that the payment history below is blank. They might have some coding charged up, but there is no history. When an account is sent to collection and is reporting as a collection, there's no payment terms to this. It's just a derogatory negative debt. This is going to help you identify what a collection is. Whereas a charged off, if it's with Fingerhut, you might see late payment history that led up to the event of it being charged off as a bad debt. That's different. Collection, when that starts reporting, you're not going to see that payment history. This is key because when we're talking about why you want to investigate first, is when you look at that, because there's no, hey, I'm going to pay you $50 a month now for 5 years on a whatever it is collection. That should be good for me, right? I'm sure I can pay it back. No, it is a negative derogatory account. There is no positive on that. So when you pay on it, because they're not going to update positive payment history, they're updating the date of last payment, the activity of that, and it is going to ding your credit every single time.
So basically, you're just giving new activity to an already negative account.
Exactly.
So it's going to count crappy every month. And so while you're thinking you're doing a great thing, maybe I entered into a pay for delete where hopefully they might delete at the end, or I've just entered a payment plan on this thing, to pay it off. You're literally, it's like you're dropping a brand new collection every single month on your credit report, essentially.
It's just going to weigh you down the entire time that you're doing that.
Well, that's a bad idea.
It's definitely a bad
That's
idea.
not a good idea at all.
And there are times, don't get me wrong, it's why you want to evaluate the entire history of your report and really look at the reds and the greens and all that. You want to repair as much as possible the reds. Now, does
Right.
that mean you can get everything just removed? No, it's not. That's not how this works.
So
it's
you
not
just
a magic eraser.
you can't just call the bureaus and have them remove these bad things.
Exactly. You cannot do that. That does
But
not work.
I saw somebody once said they could.
Yeah, that's
Science fiction. is what
exactly.
we're gonna-
Exactly. But
Yeah.
it's important to know that because you want to identify once again. When we're reviewing our credit report, we want to identify what's negative, and you want to repair as much as possible. Doesn't mean
Right.
everything, but if you have 100 accounts, let's say it's a lot. Just keep math simple though. 100 accounts that are bad. And if we can get that down to like 40 or 30 accounts, so now you have far less negative accounts than you did at the 100, right? That's what you want to do is you want to repair as much as possible.
But if you've got 100 bad accounts, just call Jeremy because
Exactly.
you're in deep crap, and I need to help you.
Yes.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that would be a lot.
It's
In all reality, it could be 5 accounts, could be 10 accounts,
right.
whatever.
Yeah,
it is,
but if you're at 100, you really
need some
you
help.
really should probably be calling us yesterday.
Exactly.
So what happens? So we've identified some of these things, and what I guess what should we do next? We've highlighted, we've gone through and we've looked at the account history. Is there anything else on this credit report we should be looking at, or that we might want to consider?
Public records.
What like
Bankruptcy,
Run
filing,
DMC?
tax lien, judgments.
Not that kind of record.
Yeah, exactly. Public
Spin
records.
the platters. You know what I mean?
It's that's important just because those are events. A lot of times, it's an event. Bankruptcy is I consider that an event in your life that impacted your
Tax
credits, tax lien, judgments, things like that.
Judgments.
But it's important to know because that doesn't necessarily play a huge role in the actual score itself. It does, but it's not as much as something within the account history. But it really plays a role in lending. If you have an outstanding judgment or an outstanding tax lien, that is going to impact your ability to obtain certain types of.
And you don't mean
lending.
like fantastic, outstanding, fantastic. Like, man, that's outstanding.
Yeah,
no,
it's
that's
outstanding.
Like,
It's still due.
It's still due. Okay.
Exactly. It's
Wow.
still due.
You have such an outstanding tax lien.
Yes,
That's
it
fantastic.
is still
I love
due.
it.
You'll notice that's typically the term on the report. It'll say outstanding.
Yeah, that's
or satisfied would mean that you took care of that.
yeah.
And that's a good
They're
thing.
satisfied. You paid. They're
Yes,
not
exactly.
thrilled, but
Yeah.
they're sacified.
It
Yeah.
doesn't have an exclamation point after it and an A+.
That's not outstanding.
Exactly.
No.
But that's really important. In fact, if you, for instance, just to kind of give some
Mm-hmm.
insider knowledge, it's like, a lot of times if you locate that you have a tax lien, or if you're aware that you have a tax lien, that is going to cause a hindrance for sure on a mortgage and more
Right.
of those higher tier accounts that you're applying for. It's very important to be aware of what your situation is and enter into some sort of arrangement with that. That's what you would do with a tax lien and even a judgment.
Is enter an arrangement?
You want to enter into some sort of repayment arrangement.
Okay.
Very different than a collection or charged off account when it comes to the steps in
So
the
this
process.
is really
Those would be red.
that's gonna be red, but this is a circumstance where like you said, you don't necessarily want to pay on the negative, because this isn't something that's impacting really the score so much as you're making your payments on it, but it's more of a pass fail.
Yes.
For getting to have a home
Yep.
or whatever. You want to enter into that payment arrangement because in a lot of cases, I've heard that the payment arrangements, you can get a home oftentimes as long as you've got a history of the.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Aren't there actual processes too for getting that taken care of on your credit report when you get into those arrangements? Certain ones you can just go ahead.
Yeah, there's certain things you can do.
Follow certain steps to get that removed.
Yeah, satisfaction or
Yeah.
release of
Yep.
lien,
Release
things
of
like
lien.
that. I think the reason why I wanted to bring this and touch on it more is that a lot of times this is an area that's missed. And if you're working very hard on getting your credit back in a good position, and if you miss that you have an outstanding tax lien or an outstanding judgment, maybe they're not harassing you, they're not calling you, not getting letters on it, but it's out there, and you worked very hard to get your credit profile and scores where it needs to be, and you miss that, and all of a sudden you go to that loan officer and apply, and you're still being denied.
Thanks for playing.
Exactly. So you want to make sure you identify these accounts, and this would be a case to reiterate once again, those types of accounts, the process is different. You want to be proactive in reaching some sort of repayment arrangement.
Right. There's one other part of the credit report that I'm going through. So looking at the, kind of as I've gone through, there's one other area, the inquiries.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone gets all excited and hell-bent and God knows what about inquiries. They're all, I'm going to call and get these inquiries off, or I'm going to do this and get these inquiries. I'm going to do that about the inquiries. I actually am curious. What's your recommendation to people versus what mine might be, or the same as what mine might be when it comes to inquiries?
I just flat out tell them that there's no point in most cases. There isn't.
Yep.
It's really understanding that, one, they only negatively impact you for 12 months. They're on the report for 24. It gets less and less as time goes on.
Right.
You know what I mean? it doesn't make sense. Also, a lot of times people get most worked up about auto inquiries.
Yeah.
And
because of the there's something called anti-duo duping, which is you are essentially allowed a shopping window.
Exactly.
You get unlimited automotive or unlimited mortgage or unlimited student loan inquiries within a 30-day period. And then 15 days following the end of those 30 days, it's just considered by FICO. Yeah, you'll still see them. They're still there. So don't think they're gone by me saying this. But they're considered by FICO as one Equifax, one
Yep.
Experian, one TransUnion. So when you freak out because the auto dealership sent it out to 95 places, don't think you have to call Equifax and try to get them to.
It's not worth it.
This is like literally not even a thing.
And also, when you go to a dealership and you're working with the finance department, that's their job.
You
They're
want them to do
shopping
this.
for you to get you the best interest
Yeah.
rate and loan.
Yeah, no, please only send it
It's
one
like-
place, particularly
Exactly.
one with high rates.
Yeah, it's like you want them to do that, and that's why FICO doesn't negatively impact you for that. They don't negatively impact you for shopping in that way.
Right.
They will with credit cards.
So you
that's very
can't do that. You
different.
can't go to Mall of America and do 30.
That'd be very
I
different.
mean, you can, but it's just really.
That was actually one of our bad
smart.
credit tips.
Yes, it was. Go to Mall of America and see how many. Yeah, absolutely.
right.
The top five worst credit tips.
Exactly.
Yep. What else we got going on? We got Brian.
Yes.
What the $100 off thing?
Yeah, back.
Remind people
$100
about that.
off. You can go on over to my800credit.com.
$100 off what?
And look at that. Even this thing is live, popping up. Get $100 off your Credit Life VIP enrollment.
That's
so go in there,
awesome.
I love
Put in
it.
your first name, last name, phone number, email address. One of the coaches will contact you and just go through what you can expect and how this program can really get your buying power back.
But that's not on forever.
That's not on forever. We are believing it's through the end of this month. The promotion, as far as we know.
I had heard it was the 31st, so I started
31st,
jumping the gun,
we'll see.
just
As
told
long as
everyone
that's
that.
available at my800credit.com. That offer is still available.
Yeah, well, that's cool. $100 off your onboarding. So onboarding for an individual at Credit Life these days, what it's like $199, and then for a couple it's $299.
That's right.
With the $100
that-
off.
with that
Because of the
off.
$100 off. That's not bad. That's
No.
not bad. That's like really not that bad at all. Awesome. So, kind of to review everything we talked about, and then kind of go into our rock out action item.
Yep.
For thing that we want people to
My
go
favorite
forth and
part of the
rock out.
show.
Absolutely, I know it is. You're totally all down about this. So, to review, you're pulling up your credit report. We're suggesting strongly smart credit. It's not because we have a horse in the race. It's because we can get you a discount on it with that, or a better service on it with that
Yep.
code. www.smartcredit.com/credit life. You save $8 off what it would have been otherwise. You get in that good program. So you get a 3-bureau credit report each and every month for $21.99 plus. There's monitoring. There's all the nifty whistles and bells and blinky things that come with it.
Yeah, you can see right from, what does it say here? You've got the score tracker, score builder, score master. There's actually a place where you can
Score
sync-
master.
Score master. You can.
I'm gonna call myself the
for
score
an
master.
Exercise.
I am
But
the score master.
You can sync up all your accounts in there too,
I
so it works
am the
like
score
your
master.
online bill pay, where you can see everything that's going on financially.
pretty cool.
And you can investigate directly with your original creditor. if
Yeah,
something
don't
were
do
to
that
pop up.
though.
Well, you could have one where there's a charge you don't recognize, and rather than picking up the phone, you can
Yeah,
actually
that's
go
true.
right in there and say, "Hey."
Oh,
I
that
don't-
type of that. I
yeah.
thought you meant like do the investigation.
No,
because
just-
that's a whole
just
different
like,
topic
it
for a whole
just
different
saves you
day.
a little bit of time from going into your
Online
individual
investing.
accounts. If it looks like somehow maybe someone from another country ran your credit card for some online credit monitoring, or not online,
Like for
something
exactly what we're talking about.
Something happened the other day where someone used
that's
a
crazy.
card for somebody to set up their virus protection on a computer.
Oh, wow.
Somehow had gotten that credit card. So that kind of thing can
That's
happen,
ironic.
and you can investigate it right through this platform, which is
Well, that's
which
really
is pretty
nice
cool.
about that's the identity theft protection planning
That's
part
right.
with it, which
Right.
is huge.
They want to
So
keep you
you
on top of that.
so you're opening up your smart credit, smartcredit.com/creda, CREDI life LIFE. You're going through. You print this sucker right on real paper, unless you're a supercomputer techie. I don't know. Maybe you want to do it and then highlight
download
in
to
those
a
colors.
PDF.
Yeah. Download it to a PDF. You want to bust out your markers. You got your red for bad. You got your yellow for I'm not totally positive what it is I'm looking at, and you've got your green for this is good and this is helping me.
Yep.
You're going through all the sections, checking out name and address, just making sure they're right, and there's nothing that you really don't understand or identify there. Then you mentioned we want to skip over that summary because the summary is not always accurate just based on coding. We want to dive down into the meat and potatoes, the actual accounts, right? And that's where we're looking for what type of stuff are we looking for in there?
We're looking for the positive. We're looking for the negative.
Yep.
And we're looking for the unknown. So it could be open active auto loans in good standing, credit cards, or we have charged off accounts, collections, or late payment history.
Cool. Then we're working our way down into the public record section. just seeing if we have any bankruptcies, foreclosures, tax liens, or other public records that are recording. And those are something that, when, it's obviously for a future podcast, but when the time comes to address those are addressed differently than, a Midland funding collection on a Capital One card that you might have.
Very different.
And then we're busting our way down to the inquiries, and we are coming to the realization that even though they're there, they aren't that big of a deal because, let's face it, in the FICO algorithm, they only make up a part of 10% of it. That's just a start. And then inquiries, they stay on your credit visibly for 24 months. They only impact your score for 12. And you've got a shopping window that allows unlimited automotive or unlimited student loan or unlimited mortgage inquiries within a 30-day period. And so that's not something we even necessarily need to put that much emphasis on.
The only time is if there's something related to fraud.
Okay.
That is the only time.
So what do you mean?
In most cases, I'd say.
So like
only time in most cases. No, like once again.
Every time, 60% of the time it works, every time.
If you see like an account that you did not authorize, there's an inquiry on that you've been alerted to because you have smart credit, you have identity theft protection.
Right.
That is something that you would then challenge because that wasn't initiated by you.
But if you're going back and you're seeing all these automotive inquiries and they had sent it out to all these places, you're not going to be like, I didn't authorize this and I didn't. Yeah, you really did.
Yeah. Exactly.
They didn't
imagine.
They didn't imagine your social security number. Somewhere there's a signature.
Exactly.
There's something's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so the rock out item.
Well, the rock out item. Hopefully, we're switching cameras here. Is you are now going through your credit report. Okay. So go back if you have to listen to this a couple times. I know that we all three have a lot to say about this. You might have to listen to this podcast more than once.
Rebel.
But you need to go back. You're going through your report. You've either printed it out or you have it as a PDF. You have the yellow highlighter, green highlighter, red highlighter, and now you're going to review your credit report and start identifying what's good, what's I don't know if this is bad or not, or this is bad. That is the rock out action item because next on Wednesday, we're going to go through the next step of now what do you do with that information.
I was thinking about that, though. I wonder, does it make any sense to deal with these, to work through the rock out action items maybe on Mondays to give people more time? For me, if I'm busy working
have them rock
today,
it out again on
tomorrow,
Wednesday?
I probably wouldn't have my credit report ready for another week. So
that's smart.
And we're still working on the format of all this.
So
but I think that maybe we would approach that next Monday again.
We'll do something informational.
Just reinforce it all.
I like it. We'll do a little reinforcement on the rock out action item. We'll have some. We'll put together some cool topics for you guys. Maybe some fresh
feedback from the listeners would be great.
If you guys, if you've got questions, comments, thoughts, and concerns, if you're in the Free Credit Repair Advice group on Facebook, drop them in on the video there. We'll take a look. If you're watching on YouTube, drop them there. We'll take a look. Wherever you're seeing this, drop it in the comments section. Otherwise, if you want to email us, do we have an email established for the show yet?
No, I guess I don't know. Do we have a? I think
here's Jared's home telephone number if you want to.
Pardon everyone listening.
Here's his home phone number.
Yes.
We'll have we'll have that.
Oh,
That'll be Wednesday. We'll have make sure we have a good email address.
We have a good email address
specific to Credit ROCKSTARS.
Yeah. Yes. So for the time being, drop your comments, drop your questions into the chat that accompanies these videos. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and throw it in the comments underneath. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, on Credit TV, follow, and comment on this stuff. Give a like on the video. Subscribe for free to Credit TV on YouTube. All kinds of content there, like a stupid, incredible amount of good, amazing credit content there from Credit Pros. But yeah, we'll go through. We'll have some fun topics for you Wednesday, and then I think rocking out an action item a week and a real solid rock out action item is good. But I'll tell you what, if you guys have gotten to by Wednesday, when it comes to Wednesday, if you've done your action item, if you're on top of this, you're like, man, I'm taking this seriously. The second these guys give me my rock out action item, last week it was get the credit report. This week, okay, now I know what I'm doing. You want to do this stuff. Give us your feedback on how it went. Share with us your experience. Share your story with us, and maybe what revelations you found. You don't have to be specific. Like, I found I suck at ever paying bills ever. That's fine if you want to tell us that, but what types of impressions you walked away with after actually going through your credit report in depth and looking at it with more of a almost a professional bent, like we, like
Yeah,
we
well, won't
taught
they,
you to do.
those yellow items might be something worth commenting about.
The yellow
it's
items
like
would be a
amenities.
definite one. Yeah,
Do
that's
you have any questions?
Because one thing we didn't mention is the potential of seeing some things different on Equifax and Experian and TransUnion, and you might wonder how that might play together when you get
that's
to
so
investor information.
true.
So
that's
keep,
so true.
yellow those up and say, why am I seeing a different high balance here than
Yep.
here, and how can that play out in my
Yeah, there's 3
investigations?
bureaus. Why does
Yeah.
this only show up on 1, on 2, on all 3? Why is it different places? Boy, there's so much that, and those are perfectly valid things. Those are questions. Those are good yellow
This is where
items
you
as
want to
we're
take
going
notes.
through there.
I mean, take notes as well.
Yeah.
We touched on that briefly, but you need to take notes, especially if it's an area of unknown. Like you brought up the fraud thing. That's write notes. Or the late payment. Hey,
Right.
I know I didn't make this payment.
I know
late.
for a
Things
fact
like
I
that.
didn't.
Take notes. You know what I mean? If you want to, and then ask questions. That's
Right.
why we're here.
Right. This has been, I think this has been
All
a
right,
good show, guys.
Thank you.
What do we want to wrap up with? So, again, if you guys if you're coming to watch this, and your goal is to purchase a home, I'll be honest, 90% of the people I work with and have
That is
worked
the
with
goal.
throughout my career in credit repair and financial wellness, their goal is, I want to buy a house. I want to have a backyard for the kids. I want to buy a house. I want to get in position so I can qualify. I can get the heck out of this apartment.
Rent's
stop
getting
paying,
expensive.
Yeah, stop paying my landlord's mortgage every month. I'm paying $1,800 a month, and it's not my house I'm paying it for. We got something going on for that. What is it?
Yeah, the $800 cash back at closing, up to and incentives. Also working with the loan officers. So if you go through our referral network, we're creating relationships across the country with trusted real estate agents and loan officers that can help get you to your goal, that truly understand what you've been through, so they're not going to, judge you for having gone through a program to get your buying power back and figure things out. They understand how this works. They understand how important it is that you get back into the credit game, and that's why we're here. We want to get you just right, so when you go in and you get pre-qualified without judgment, and they know that you're going to be someone they can start working with right away. So there's an advantage to those real estate agents and loan officers in our network. They appreciate being referred someone who's ready and has a good mindset and wants to purchase. So they're offering money back at closing in order to create an additional incentive to have you come through that program.
So you come
Super
through
cool.
the Credit Life VIP program.
Yep.
You do your thing. You get your credit in order. You go. You now have a good credit score, credit profile. You get approved for a home. You close on that home. You get up to $800 back. So your goal paid for.
Yeah, and this was all
Doesn't
being
really take you
discussed
there.
while it said stream is ending, Credit ROCKSTARS live. So maybe it was a little premature on putting that up, but
That's okay.
that's how we're
That's how we do.
I love
wrapping
it.
it out.
It's a big mystery. We're behind the
Look forward to
behind the
doing
ending
more
screen.
of these. Let's
It's
hope
fine.
everybody's healthy and getting after it on Wednesday. We'll come back to
Absolutely.
you live again.
Yep. Yeah. So what time we are? 10 o'clock on Wednesday
That's the
morning
plan.
Central Standard Time.
Unless another Windows update throws us off.
Yeah, that was crazy stuff. Well, I'm Jeremy Dysock, FICO certified credit coach.
Jared Havens.
And
CEO,
Brian Del
co-founder.
Terzo, administrator, co-founder.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks,
We'll,
guys.
Very good.
we'll see you Wednesday.